Hey, all my Libra friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your February 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are for Libra rising, Libra moon, Libra sun, and if you have a stellium, that's 3 or more personal planets in the sign of Libra, this would be applicable to you as well. The structure is based on whole sign Western astrology, and it will be based on Libra rising. So let's just jump right in because we see here that the month starts with Pluto is still at 0 degrees of Aquarius, an energy that we're fairly, we had a toe tip of this back in 2023. And we're seeing that in no short time, Mercury will be making a strong conjunction with Pluto. So what we're going to see is as the month goes on, Mercury, then Mars, then Venus will all be joining Pluto in conversation. And in that conversation, there is going to be a lot of discussion about our wants and our desires. This is a continuation of January. We see Eris here at 24 degrees of Aries. She is Mars's little sister, and we see her making an exact square to Mercury and to Mars. Capricorn is your 4th house, and Aries is your 7th house. So this is some sort of there's a tense moment here between I think what is expected of you in some respects, or what you expect of yourself, even in the way of keeping structure. Capricorn by nature is a sign that is pragmatic, it is disciplined, it follows the rules. And here, I believe that you've been starting to rewrite the rules as the nodes have been going through your 1st house. The South Node is right here at 17 degrees of Libra, and the nodes travel backwards. So they're going to be heading towards the earlier degrees of Libra as they progress. So here, I think that this has been sort of a feeling of, how do I, manage the dynamics within my home and find myself in the mix. I also get this intuitive hit that there's the potential that there could be arguments. You could have trouble with the younger people in your life, or you could have some neighborhood, some maybe a little bit of disruption in the neighborhood is the way I want to put it. This being your 4th house Capricorn, there's a tightening energy coming up during this month of February, as there's this tense square to the nodes. We've got Chiron in your 7th house. This has been a little bit of a challenging energy that's been ongoing. We also see here that Mars is making a trine to Uranus. Uranus rules liberation. Mars rules war in its, most raw state. So there could be a little bit of a feeling of, I just can't do you anymore, or I can't do the structure of what we have, or I have created in the way of, I just kind of going to my community, my neighborhoods. I feel like you've incorporated your thought process and started to build new ideas for yourself. And in that, we're now, as we implement those structures, Capricorn, as we put them into the material world, could be creating just a wee bit of tension between those that you love and yourself, because they're not used to you behaving this way, or they're not used to you putting yourself as a priority, or you've changed pattern in some way. And I think this is actually for the benefit. That's why this is a beautiful trine here to Mars and Uranus. So it's building a new structure. And I want to offer this. If there is tension, if you are building something a lot on faith in yourself right now, here's your skills in Capricorn. And those around you don't necessarily applaud your efforts. Mercury, they're not speaking out loud. Give them a minute to catch up. That's what I want to say. Taurus is your 8th house of transformation, other people's money. You could get a client, you could get some sort of backing. There could be something that happens very unexpectedly that, while on some level it creates tension, it can also create more benefit. So it feels maybe disruptive to your everyday activities, but again, we're looking long term. We're thinking long term. Let's go to the 5th. where we'll see Venus has joined Pluto in Aquarius, and this is where Venus is, this is Mercury has joined Pluto in Aquarius. And this is where my thoughts are really starting to get expansive. I'm starting to be more aware in my everyday life of what I want to experience. Naturally, Aquarius is the 11th house. It is your 5th house of self-expression. It's also the house of romance, of fun, frivolity, entertainment. It's the performer, the clown, the child. So here we're having some sort of, again, a revisit of a psychological imprint and the beginning of a new way of being. We still are experiencing Mars and now it's Mars having a square to Eris. And while this square is normally it's rather tense, this is brother and sister here. This is little sister, this is big brother, and I'm thinking here that Eris might want to move a little bit more quickly. And as Mars is an exalted position in Capricorn, and I believe that Mars has learned a little bit about strategic action versus just blowing through every sign, era after era, eon after eon, and never really garnishing any information. So I'm not buying that bag anymore. I think Mars has become a strategic warrior and does his best in Capricorn, because that slows down his anger a little bit. So I think this is super powerful, and I think there's an opportunity for you to feel a sense of your own self-worth. Here we see Venus is starting to make this trine to Uranus, and that's going to get tighter as the month goes on. And then we see this nice aspect between Mars and Neptune. And I say this nice aspect as a sextile because I think that Mars is becoming a spiritual warrior, becoming aware of his thoughts and things, and becoming more, he hasn't lost his edge, but he's aware of his edge now. So he knows when to use it and when it's not really going to be beneficial. So now let's move on to the new moon in Aquarius. And I think this is the 4th new moon at the 20th degree. This is going to happen at 2:59 a.m. Oh, no, p.m. Excuse me, p.m. on the 9th of February. So here we see, where's my moon? Oh, I'm in January. Excuse me, February 9th. There we go. All right. So here now we see this new moon in Aquarius. And this to me, when I see a series of moons at the same degree, I can't help but take pause. And when I see it at the 20th degree, there's a seasoned, more how do I want to phrase it? There's a more seasoned awareness of my own personal psychology. I'm aware a little bit more, and I'm ready to integrate those things. I'm not a big person for releasing. I'm not wired that way. So when something happens to me, I almost demand it turn into wisdom. So this is planting the seeds for a new beginning. I'm aware of my psychological imprint. I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm just using it as a piece of information when I get a little stuttered or nervous about something, because Aquarius rules our nervous system. We see as Mercury has moved away from Pluto, Mars is starting to make its conjunction. And this is powerful because Mars and Pluto co-rule Scorpio. And here we have the Scorpionic degree. So this is really planting the seeds for, really prospering. We can look at the Scorpionic energy as, I want to make a lot of money. I want to get great clients. I want to have a flow of energy. I want to experience myself in a new and renovated, a new evolved way. I hate to use certain words because they make me feel like I'm saying one chapter of life is better than another. And I think they all have their ups and their downs. So I think that if I can impress that upon you, because evolution is kind of a funky word for me. But here, I really like the way this This moon is making this trine aspect to your south node in the first house. And while there is this little square, this I think is an inner tension, because again, this is your 8th house of transformation. And as you're birthing yourself into new, greater parts of your story, what you want to experience, I think there's a sense of a little bit of anxiety, So I think that's if you can be aware of that, then you can have that anxiety not grip you and stop you from what it is you want to do or experience. All right, let's now go to the 13th, where Mars will be conjunct Pluto. Now, this is an interesting day for me because this speaks to me like that we're going to hear something in the media. I have trepidation about the world stage. This can be a little bit a little volatile. Aquarius rules liberation, rebellion, and here we have some pretty in-your-face energies with these planets. And it could have a lot to do with finances, money, resources. Here we see Venus at that late degrees of Capricorn. So be mindful of that. Don't let yourself have too much concern that, as one focuses on the laws of attraction, we can sort of insulate ourselves from some of these more challenging energies that are happening around us, is the way I want to put it. Okay, let's go on to the 16th, where Venus will be in her conjunction with Pluto. Now, this is again, Mars hasn't moved very, very far off of Pluto. So this could be a continued energy of what I was just speaking about. We could see some things. We could even see technology birthed that has to do with, Bitcoin or electronic money. But more so, I feel as if there could be tensions that rise about imbalances around our planet. And I don't really like to go into those places, because if I always tell Spirit, if I don't have influence over a situation, then I don't want to fret about it. And I think that's a good thing for Libra, because you're balance oriented. And we see here that your mind could be very busy right now, as Mercury is in Aquarius. Again, Aquarius is your 5th house. And here is the square to Uranus, which is in your 8th house. And I want to offer this to you because regardless of the world stage, each individual is able to create resources for themselves as they align to their dreams, as they align to their talents, as they are brave in their thoughts and then within their actions. Because we have a lovely aspect from Mercury to the North Node and Chiron, both at this Cancerian degree. This is the wound that turns into the gift as I individualize myself, and I see more wisdom in that as I move take my actions. That's the South Node in Venus. I'm sorry, South Node in Libra. I get ahead of myself. My brain seems to want to work very quickly. So I just want to give you a heads up about this conjunction, because again, it could be rough on the outside. It doesn't necessarily have to be rough in your personal world. All right, then we go to the 16th. Oh, we are in the 16th, but let me move, to the 18th. And now the sun, the 19th, the sun has moved into Pisces. This is wonderful energy. We have, I just feel like when the planets move into Pisces, even Saturn has to sort of tone down his somberness and kind of look at things from a more altruistic, utopian, nirvana energy, what can be versus what is. And I think that's what happens as the sun moves into Pisces, and then Mercury will do so in not not too short in order. So the thoughts go to be more imaginative. We feel more compassionate. We feel more empathetic. We can be a little gullible and impressionable here in the Pisces energy, but Saturn's keeping our head on straight here. Saturn's, and this is what I think about Saturn, because we talk about Saturn ruling an earth sign of Capricorn. I think that part of that, that energy is being practical about utilizing the divine laws of the universe. Saturn was a god, and we forget that he helped man with the tools to foster and nurture the golden age. All of this is moving into your 6th house of work. Oops, pardon me. So I think as you've been doing all this and all the energy that started in January and then moving into February, as you're getting into March, this is a real opportunity to start to, again, capitalize on that energy and start to bring material resources into your world. Let's go now to the 23rd. We'll watch Mercury enter Pisces. Thoughts get really dreamy and thoughts become very, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bit of a creative spurt. And here we see an exact conjunction between Venus and Mars. And I think this is important because this square here to Jupiter there's a potential of trepidation because of things happening outside of yourself. This Aquarian energy, while it's ruling your 5th house of creativity, it is also rules cosmic consciousness. It rules large systems. So there may be challenges that show up that, kind of maybe put some speed bumps in the business. Looking at Jupiter's expanding, commerce, expanding your potentials for publishing, for marketing, for branding. All those things happen on the internet these days. But don't let this temporary transit stop you. Do your best to stay maybe anchored into your creativity, using Saturn's discipline and Mercury's imagination here, moving into Pisces. I think that'll be super helpful. It's really, I think this is a good time for artists and for people who are creative to kind of hunker down into their own little world and allow their creativity to lead the way while maybe the outside world looks a little bit too disruptive. Okay, and let's go on to, we've got a full moon on the 24th. That will take place at 4:30 a.m. Pacific time. All right, so we see the sun and the moon. Oh, I don't have the right time. Sorry, didn't take. 4:30 a.m. There we go. Now, I think that this is powerful because this full moon is in the sign of Virgo. I'm sorry, in this, yes, it is. It's in the sign of Virgo. And this, to me, is about Virgo naturally rules work. It naturally rules my mental process, how I analyze things, how I process things. Virgo is your 12th house. This is the house that is naturally Piscean. And here we see the sun is in Pisces. So this is an opportunity for you to allow your emotional body, here we have the 5th degree of Leo, go into a process of creativity, of something that makes you feel a sense of hope and faith and excitement about moving forward in the future. And I know that sounds a little bit lofty, but there's going to be, I think, a sort of a polarization in humans where those that are starting to drive the bus of their lives, focusing in on them and sort of putting the outside world on hold. And I don't mean it like I'm not going to pay attention to my responsibilities. I'm just going to not let things I can't change influence my direction. So, if we look at the world economy and it's starting to talk about going cuckoo, am I going to sit and fret about that? Or am I going to focus in on me and know that the divine laws of the universe will support my focus and my emotional body? because I think this energy here of Saturn and Mercury being conjunct this moon, the sun, is very important for harnessing this moon's energy. Instead of being hypercritical, instead of thinking I'm not enough, this is a time to just put one foot in front of the other, one word at a time on the page, one stroke on the canvas, one video up on the platform, whatever it is that you're wanting to endeavor. I think that's very, very important and very powerful. All right, let's go to the 28th, which is what we're used to being the last day of the year for us. I mean, the last day of the month. My goodness gracious. Excuse me. Okay, this is actually, we have a leap year this year, but I wanted to show you this conjunction between now the Sun and Saturn, and then we have Mercury here. And I think this is, again, we're continuing this energy. We're being disciplined in our thoughts. We're putting some structure into our spiritual practices. We're seeing Mars and Venus are conjunct here in Aquarius. And while they're still in a very loose dynamic to Uranus, they are in that tighter square to, or they're in a tight square to Jupiter. And this is where I'm just having to stay the course. I feel as if, there's still a lot of me looking to my future over here with Venus and Mars, me not necessarily, let's say you started a channel and, you got 100 new subscribers and that's great, but you need 1,000 more to, monetize or something like that. There could be something where you're required to just sort of put your nose to the grindstone in your belief system. In what you're thinking. There's that 11th degree. It's also an Aquarian degree. But just thinking outside the box and surrendering on some level to the transformation that if you build it, they and your resources will show up. We have a beautiful Venus trine to the South Node here. That is the ruler of the South Node here, having a conversation, an innovative conversation, a liberating conversation, a conversation where when I take care of myself, I actually am taking care of others, and I'm helping them to chase their dreams. Here we have Venus making a beautiful sextile to the North Node. So there's this beautiful feeling of the energy of Saturn and Mercury and the Sun giving me this whole new way of imagining and connecting with the bigger part of myself. I, Teri Hunter, do not believe that the human is encased in one body. I believe there's a fragment, a part of you that is here in this physical experience. And then there's a part of you that lays outside of that physical experience to hold space for the larger part of you. And as you come under the veil of unknowing, and then you start to remember your divinity, your ability to co-create, and how that supports others and how that supports the bigger picture for humanity, because we all have this inherently within us. We just have been trained not to recognize it. So, humans are kind of ruled by fear. So this is really it for the month of February. I'm going to do a quick little jaunt onto the 29th, since we don't have this day very often. Venus is pulling away a little bit from Mars here, but they're still in conversation. This conjunction is still happening between Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn. So continuing to be diligent in allowing my creativity to flow. I think that's important. And then just sort of, kind of being easy with any of the tension that you may be feeling between the Mars and Jupiter energy, that square there between where you've been. Again, Taurus rules your personal family history, therefore it rules your self-worth. And here you are being brave in stretching for a new definition of who you are, and there could just be a wee bit of tension. But on the backside of that tension, it will feel so lovely and rooted, is the way I want to put it. All right, for my Libra rising, that's it for me for February 2024. If you like these videos, please hit the button, share, hit that notification bell, and please join me Sunday mornings live at 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we pull a tarot card, and we do an angel reading to get the angel's advice for traversing the week ahead's transits. So I hope you'll join me then. In the meantime, I will see you in March, everybody. Peace out.